What's going on, Val? The one and only. What's going
Okay,
on, sister?
I gotta flip my camera.
You're good.
There.
We're good. We're good. How you doing?
I'm good. You?
I'm good. I'm good. So it's good to see you, man. Kwaku, I see you, Kwaku, in the building. It's all good. All right. So we'll get ready to jump into it pretty soon. What's up, Janny? How you doing? What's going on, Pedro? I see you. I see y'all. It's all good. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump into it. So today, so we're going to be discussing social media and the negativity and positivity of social media. Before we get into that, I just wanted to say that some of you guys have seen that the newest single, which is "Place Better Yet Put." I put the lyric video out yesterday. I see you, Olga, and so that's available, you guys, everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, Deezer, Tidal, iTunes, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. Every streaming area. Let There Be Light, of course, is still out. That's also out. You guys can go ahead and stream that or whatever. Also, and All right, Val. Val, do you have anything that you want to talk about before we get started? Anything that you have going on? Anything that you want to promote? Anything like that?
No, just say hi to everybody.
Well, we're all glad to have you here, Bob, and we appreciate it. I see you, Robbie Joe in the building. All right, so social media, the pros and the cons. I was looking at a few things. Of course, there's a few things I had in my mind. Me and you were discussing this, and you kind of brought it up, and you were making a good point. Before we get into we'll bounce back and forth between the pros and the cons, or whether social media has more negative effects or positive effects on your life. Before we get into all of the negativity, though, I did want to start or more of a positive tip, and then maybe we'll go back and forth from that portion. So first of all, we're talking about social media. We're talking about all social medias across the board, no matter what it is, from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter and those of the like. And so when we're talking about that, the first thing that I think maybe positively, where social media kind of maybe does good things, is that it, I think, puts a lot of people that kind of support each other. It allows you to meet other people in the same group that support each other. So I'm thinking of, like, maybe if individuals who might have like a medical problem or a medical issue, or individuals who might be, who might suffer from things like anxiety, and we'll talk about the negative part of that also. But for right now, for this very moment, people that suffer from anxiety, or things like that, or maybe like have a bad day or things like that, or they're going through something in their life. Sometimes social media can have like a group or community, to where when you're having that problem, you can reach out to that social media community, and they might have solutions, right? So let's say if I had like a medical issue or something like that, or I suffered from something, and I say, man, like, I'm having a bad day because this is happening. There might be somebody out there that is like, well, you know what, that happened to me also, and this is like how I dealt with it, or this is like what you have to do. And I think that maybe if social media didn't exist, you wouldn't have met all those individuals that could have helped you out with that. What do you think about that to begin?
No, the anxiety of getting help. Is
Yeah,
that
so
what you're?
like people helping you out with maybe different, anxiety issues, or different medical issues or things like that. Social media, you have individuals who might have those like type of situations going on, and if social media didn't exist, you might not have ever known those people or met those people. So with social media, it's kind of helping you out like in that way.
Yes, it made me meet a new friend because she read my post when I had my anxiety. I think it was yesterday, and
Yeah.
then she tells me that she went through the same thing and she don't have nobody. So I tell her, okay, like you can call me, and she told me I can call her now when I have an anxiety, but it's hard because you can't breathe and it's like how am
Mm.
I gonna talk to anybody? And you're concentrating on your breathing and your heartbeat and just trying to stay calm and not get a panic attack because panic attack and anxiety together, it feels like I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, I think that and first of all, let me just say that it's a good thing that you and her got in touch with one another, so that you guys can, communicate and you guys can help each other out to where maybe other individuals who don't suffer from anxiety, in that respect, they just may not know how to deal with it. You might have friends, and people in your life that care about you very much, but they just don't know how to deal with that. So meeting somebody out there that suffers from the same thing and knows how to deal with it, can be much more helpful than even individuals who are closer to you personally that just don't know what they're doing, just don't have the experience when it comes to dealing with that. So so I first of all, thank you for reaching out to her, and her for reaching out to you. And hopefully you two can both help each other out through that. But second of all, that's a great example of how, starting off positively, social media can help individuals who, for lack of a better term, suffer or have to deal with the same type of things, in their life. I think along with that, also what social media does in that respect is that it allows people to be able to come right out and talk about those things, because social media it gives you a form of anonymity, which basically means that, you can come out and you can say things about yourself and put yourself out there that, and people, you don't have to kind of be embarrassed, right? Because people know you, but they really don't know you. So you're able to say more things, I think, and not be embarrassed about it. So I think that, it gives people more kind of like courage, I think, through social media to say it, to whereas if you would meet somebody face to face, they might not want you to, they might not open up as quickly as they do on social media. I think that's another good thing. Um, Janny says that, panic attacks, she started to suffer them when she was a young child. And I think that, a lot of people, more people than we think, suffer from anxiety and panic attacks. So I think that, also on top of that, as far as people being more, having more courage on social media, I think that also on top of that, you have the idea that on social media, people are available, more often. I think that there's a 24/7. So whenever you reach out to somebody through social media, you'll find that, that you can find an answer. There's usually somebody up. There's usually somebody
Yes.
up. Somebody around the world is up and awake, to be able to respond to you when you do reach out to somebody on social media. I think that's also a positive thing. I see you slave stories. I think that's also a positive thing. So,
Sorry.
and Jenny, yeah, Jenny says, she suffered from sexual abuse, the first 12 years of her life, and we're really, really sorry to hear that, Jenny. Um, that's abuse, physical and sexual, and just the emotional abuse that comes with that. The more that, I talk to people, I unfortunately realize and start to see that that's a theme that many young females, just had to go through. Many young females just couldn't escape from, and it's almost to the point to where, man, I've heard so many stories from individuals that I've spoke to that were sexually and physically abused as females, that, it almost feels like, as when I walk through a store or something like that, or walk through the mall or whatever, it's like I almost feel like almost every female face that I look into as I walk past them, I feel like they were abused in some way in their lifetime already. and it just seems like it's so much more common than I than I thought it was when I was young. You know what I'm saying? Just didn't understand the type of thing or whatever. So we appreciate that, Jenny, for you sharing that with us, and we're really sorry to hear about that. Definitely. Um, so let's get into, so of course, with that positive that you have with with people, I think having more courage, coming out because they don't feel like it's them that's being put out there, with people that are available for you 24/7, you know, with people that are there's no geographic limitations. You can get into touch with people all over the world. I think that's a good thing also. And we're sorry to hear that, because Jenny says that there was no justice ever served for the wrong that she went through. And like I said, unfortunately, that's something that I'm realizing more and more that happens to individuals, and it's just something it's just frustrating, and it's really sad, and it's beyond words, kind of, to a certain extent, to be discussed or even talked about, because I've never went through that. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to kind of like put it all into perspective. It's just something that I really feel just bad about when I hear about. So again, we appreciate that, Jenny, with you sharing with us what you went through. It's really sad. More Getting into more of the negativity, along with that positivity that social media brings. So the first thing that you hear about a lot of times with social media, the first negativity you hear about is the cyberbullying, um, and people being bullied through social media, and and things like that. You know, um, with that cyberbullying, have you ever yourself been cyberbullied? Um, Warrior, or has any of your son or your daughter had to go through anything maybe like that, or have you known anybody, any family members or friends that have gone through that?
My daughter, one time, she received a text message saying you're ugly, and we didn't know who it was, but I told her just ignore it, don't listen. You're not ugly, you're pretty, and she just blocked it. And it just came from a random number.
Mm. And your daughter's young too, so like, your daughter's how old, for everybody?
9.
She's 9, so just imagine a 9-year-old, getting a text saying that she's ugly. That probably really emotionally affected her, in a major way. Um, Jenny says her father was a super cop of hundreds of victims. Look at that. So your father caught hundreds of is that a good thing? I think her father was a super cop, and so her father, got justice for hundreds of victims. I'm assuming that's what she means, which is a wonderful thing. If that's what happened with your father. It's a wonderful thing. And so with cyberbullying itself is a strange thing, right? Because cyberbullying, a lot of people say they get cyberbullied, and then on the other side, you have people that say, well, you know what? There's no way that somebody can be fully, and I want your take on this, Warrior, because this is an interesting type of take, one in both ways. Some people say that, you know, okay, all right. So Janie's saying that her father was the bad guy. We're really sorry to hear
That's what
that,
I
Janie.
know in a lot of households is the father. Like, now that I'm communicating with a lot
Yeah.
of people, they tell me stories and they say that their dad does that. They get drunk and then they start
Mm,
doing things to them and they were scared, and it's sad.
that's really sad, especially coming from the idea of, like, because your father, a lot of times, especially to everybody who's young, whether it's a male, a boy, or a female, a girl. Your father, how you doing, Crystal? I see Crystal Clear Records. Your father, a lot of times, is is the one that when you're young you look up to be the protector for the entire family, you know. So to have the father be the one to harm his family, which the father, historically is the one supposed to protect his family, that right there is a terrible, just terrible. Thinking like it brings your whole world down, your whole concept of being protected in life. And just like you said, Warrior, Jenny is saying that it was his drinking and he had his gun, and that's something that you've also experienced yourself. Terrible. And like I said, this is something that as the more I talk to individuals and meet individuals out there, the more I see that this is a common theme throughout, you know. And this right here live as we speak is another, I guess, positive example of social media, because you and Janny didn't know each other, and now through these 10, 15 minutes, we've learned that there's somebody else, because I know your story, Warrior, and there's somebody else out here who I didn't even know Jenny's story, that went through some of the same things that you went
I
through.
think what they need to do is have in school teach you that nobody should be touching you and nobody should be doing nothing to you, and you shouldn't be afraid to report them, and if they threaten that they're going to kill you, to not listen to them, because they're going to get locked up and they just tell you that to scare you. And that's what they need to teach in school, because a lot of kids don't know that what gets done to them is bad. They think it's normal and it's supposed to happen.
Yeah. And what's even bad about that is that I see you, Rodriguez, is that what's even bad about that is that I think that a lot of people, because of the way things are now with music and with TV and things like that, the way things are now is that they see a lot of sexuality on TV. There's a lot of sexuality through music. There's a lot of sexuality all around them on social media, with like the girls who take pictures and stuff like that have, they're almost naked and things like that. With all that sexuality, then when something sexual happens to these young individuals when they're young, they then think, well, you know what? Like, I see this all around me, so yes, this is normal. So I think you're absolutely right, Warrior, in saying that. I think that people, in school or other places, and definitely as parents, we need to like continuously remind, young individuals that, yeah, people are should be held to a certain standard, and those things that were done to you aren't right. If somebody touches you, that's not right. You definitely have to tell somebody, and we need to somehow separate what they think is normal from what they see in society and through the music and things like that.
Yes, but some of them fear the father, uncles, or whoever, because they tell them, if you tell anybody, I'm going to kill you and your whole family and this, so they get scared and they never say nothing. But they need to learn that not to fear. That's what I teach my kids. If anybody ever touches you, no matter who it is, you tell me, because if they tell you they're going to kill you and your whole family, it's a lie. They're just telling you that so they won't get in trouble and won't go to jail.
Exactly.
Once you tell me and they check you and they find out and investigate, they're going to go to prison for a long time. And they're like, okay, I said, don't let nobody scare you.
Exactly. I see you, Helen. I see you. So that's something that's, like we said, that's very, very important. And through social media, that's something that we just have to be careful about. That's another negative. Speaking about the positive and negative, the positives and the negatives, that's another negative of social media. And just having to deal with everything they see on social media. And speaking of that, another thing on social media is self-esteem. And so the idea that a lot of individuals start to deal with stress and self-esteem issues because they're looking at everybody else on social media, and then people start to compare themselves on what they see on social media, like the lives of the people they see on social media, which most of the time are false. You can rent things and you can do things, and social media lives through these pictures and these videos. They're like, a minute long or something like that. And the thing about it is, for that picture, for that minute long video, a couple minutes long of a video, something like that, you can fake it. You can be in
Yeah.
somebody else's house. I mean, I've been lucky enough to own properties and things like that. And I've even seen to where there'll be people that, are in one of my condos or something like that, or one of my properties, and they're visiting me and they're taking pictures and doing video on social media. And next thing you know, they're posting it like it's their own. And it doesn't matter to me because I don't like, I could care less. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's my property, so what do I care for? Like, if you want to use it to make yourself look better, I don't care. But I just bring that up to bring up the fact that that other people out there though that are trying to compare themselves to people, it hurts them because then there's like unrealistic expectations that they just can't reach.
And most of those people are just post the good. They never post the bad. You never see no bad posts on their thing. It's always happy,
Exactly.
happy, and it's never always happy, happy.
Exactly. That's a great point. And so they'll make you think that their life is so good. But a lot of times, and most of the time, people that post that their life is so good, it's actually not good. They need to make themselves feel good. And so that post and what they get from that post actually makes themselves feel better about themselves, which says a lot about their character. This is a lot about who they are because you shouldn't have to make somebody else make you feel better. And that ties into and we're sorry to see that change. And he says there was so much damage, like within her family. She lost her sister to heroin. And Janny, I'm going to bring you on because I'm about to do actually on Sunday, the topic on Sunday is about drug addiction, Janny. So I'm going to reach out to you through your DM after this. And I'm going to see if I can bring you on Sunday. And because it's about drug addiction and problems that family face when you have a drug user in the family. So that's the topic for this upcoming Sunday. So Jenny, I think that you would be perfect for that, and I'll reach out to you after this is over, definitely. But yeah, so living up to those expectations that are unrealistic, and then beyond that, social media also, because of things like that, they lend to the idea that it starts to become an addiction of people wanting to get like the likes and the comments, because those likes and those comments just those likes and those comments kind of put people like on a high. It makes people feel high. It's kind of like chasing a high. It's kind of like a gambler or somebody who plays the
Yeah.
lottery or somebody who does something like that. When they hit those numbers, when you're gambling, when you get that, you might lose 10 times in a row, but when you hit on that 11th time, it's such a high, and you're so happy that you hit on that 11th time that you feel like it does something to you in the mind, to where it feeds your brain on that chemical that a lot of people use drugs for and things like that, that gets you that high. And so social media in that regard, I guess another negative aspect of it is that it's like that also, to where people chase that high of getting as many likes as they can and getting as many comments as they can, and that makes their day. And if they don't get those likes or don't get those comments, or if they get negative comments, that really will throw their entire day off.
Yeah.
And it's crazy like that. Have you ever gone through anything to where um you've gotten like negativity through social media and it's affected your day? It's kind of put a gray cloud over your head for the rest of the day. Have you ever gone through anything like that?
Just like when I post things that are not woke, like I put Netflix, chill, and snacks, then they'll be like, "Wow, you're not woke, are you?" And I'm like, "You don't need to come on my page with negativity. I have kids. Of course, I still gotta watch TV and chill and watch snacks. It doesn't mean because I'm woke that I cannot participate in nothing else but
Yeah,
intelligence and being
yeah,
awake." And I'm just like, and it gets me mad, and I'm just like, man, whatever. I just ignore him. I want to write stuff. And sometimes I do. I just be like, if you don't like my post, then you don't have to answer. Just F off. Like, don't bring your negativity to me.
yeah. I think that a lot of times, which is another negative on social media. I think that a lot of times people are absolutists on social media, so it's kind of like it's like they either are, or they want you to believe they live in this one straight lined world of this is how it should be. Your life shouldn't be anything else but this. It should only be this
Yeah.
24/7. You know what I mean? So, and you know, what's funny about that, this kind of lends to who I am, like as an artist, because you'll see, like, you know, from like the first single, Let There Be Light, was really serious and it was all political about history and social issues and racism and things like that. And then the second single, Place Better Yet Put, is all sexual and, you know, the language is super sexual and things like that. And it's totally different. But I think that as an artist, I'm like that also, with like just showing that you should be, I see you, Joseph, that you should be the type of person that is across the board, because even individuals that are super quote unquote woke, or they're all about, you know, intellectuality and education and things like that, they still have children, a lot of them. So
Yeah.
that means that they still have sex. So that means that they still get aroused. So that means that their penis still gets hard and their vagina still gets moist. So that
Yeah.
means that when they're there having sex, these intellectual, intelligent, I read books all day, every day people, when they're having sex, I doubt they're thinking about the speeches of Malcolm X while they're having
Yeah.
sex. You know what I mean? When they're reaching their climax, I doubt when they're reaching their climax, they're thinking about the ways of Gandhi when they're reaching their climax. So
Yeah.
they also get horny and feel sexual and things like that. Malcolm X had children. Martin Luther King Jr. had children. They had to be aroused. Their penis had to get hard to have those children. So when you're talking about, okay, well, you know, I watch TV or I watch sexual things or I think about sexual things, people that respond like, oh, well, you're not woke or you're this or that, or you should only think about, you know, racism and social issues every moment of your life.
Yeah.
Well, then those people aren't having children or aren't seeing somebody from the opposite sex or the same sex, and they're getting aroused and they're feeling, you know, the physical attraction towards people, because in those moments you're not thinking about, you know, the Constitution at that moment when you're getting sexually aroused by somebody else. So I think it's a good thing that people are well rounded throughout life, and that people can kind of show on social media. I see you, Akram, can kind of show on social media that they're well-rounded individuals and they're just not stringent to one certain thing
Yeah.
in their life. I think that's a good thing. So cheers to you for doing your Netflix and chill, sister. You know.
I know, it's like, what was I gonna say? They, because they say TV's bad and you learn nothing from it. You learn a lot of things. There's documentaries, there's educational stuff on there. What are you talking about? And I'm not gonna read all day and just learn, learn, learn. You get burnt and you need to let loose, be free, happy, and have fun.
And
I
you need to
can't sit up
relax your
and live my
mind. You
life.
need to relax your mind. I see you. I see you, Danji. You need to relax your mind. Because that's another thing with social media, right? Like, in the same way that you're speaking of, you can't, a lot of times on social media, when you're on it too much, your mind is going so quickly and so quickly and so quickly, that to be able to kind of step away every once in a while and achieve that relaxation every once in a while is good for the betterment of your body physically. You know, if you've ever, even people that live like in the areas of like the city and things like that, if you ever just go to like the country, or go to like, another the country area of wherever you live, or another country period, to where you're on like a kind of a vacation, and you're in like in a serene environment with maybe waterfalls or lakes or things like that, you feel better. Like, you physically start to feel better as a person. You know what I mean? You physically start to kind of feel happier, you feel freer and things like that. So I think you're absolutely right. I see you, Lance. I think you're absolutely right as far as like, like detaching and achieving that situation to where, you can relax your mind and things like that.
Get out of reality. And to me, it's like one of my best memories when I was little. Like when my dad wasn't drinking and doing his bad stuff, he would get paid, pay his bills, buy us pizza, rent us movies at Blockbuster, and we all sit there and be a family. And it makes me happy, and it reminds me of the good times and when everything was good. And I'm doing it with my kids, and it's better than being out in the street, in the clubs. I'd rather be home here on a Friday eating pizza, watching movies, and it makes me happy.
I think that's a good thing. I think that, and Netflix is like, like Blockbuster without having to go to the
Yeah.
store and pick up anything. You can get it within seconds, right? And you don't have to worry about taking anything back to the store later on, days
Yeah.
later, right? Or
Reorder the
anything like
tape.
that. And so I think also what you brought up, there's even a bigger point. That's a great point, and that spending time together as a family. Because you see those commercials now, and you see like even like they make comedy, kind of little bits out of them in commercials and things like that, with like the whole family sitting at the table or stuff like that, and everybody's looking at their phone. They're looking down at their phone, right? And nobody's looking up. But when you can have those moments of spending time as a family in the living room, on the couch, laying on the floor, on the sofa, and things like that, on the big chair that's on the side right there, and you're spending that time as a family. I think that's something that people used to do all the time, and I think that really the percentage of families that do that has really dropped off. Like I think in a major, major way. I don't have those statistics right in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it dropped off in a major, major, major way because I don't even really hear too many times these days people talking about um I don't really hear too many times that people talking about, that, oh, I spent time with my family, or we as a family watched this weekend. Everybody's just kind of going their own way. And Danji, don't worry about it. Danji says I'm interested in this discussion, just that I don't have much to say. Don't worry about it. It's all good. We appreciate you dropping in. I see you, Harold. But that's really, really important, man. And to get back to and I think with this social media thing, I think that if nothing else, we should take out of this and away from this that that we should really try to find a balance, from what how things used to be and how things are, because social media is something that's not going anywhere, and this definitely needs a part two. That's why when I sent this out this afternoon, I put volume one, because I knew definitely that we weren't going to be able to even crack. We weren't going to even be able to crack the mountain of whether social media is positive or negative for you. We weren't going to be able to even crack the mountain tonight because, of course, I never like to keep you guys for too long. So I put volume one next to that. Because I knew there was going to be a volume 2 and 3 and 4 probably, as we go through this down the as the months go on down the line. But if nothing else, for this particular conversation, this volume one, us speaking about this, we brought up so many good issues, and we appreciate everybody for joining us. But to take away from this, I think is and Joseph is definitely right. Joseph said too much of
Yeah.
anything is bad for you, and balance is definitely the key. And that's what I was going to say. Taking away from this, I think it's that social media is here to stay, and that we need to find that balance between the way kind of quote unquote society used to be, to where people used to spend more time together, and it evolved over time. When you think about going back to the times even like before electricity and things like that, when families lived together, and they would be, they would read books next to the fireplace or next to candlelight and things like that. And because there was no electricity, everybody was into the house by like sundown, because there was no reason to be outside after sundown because there was no electricity. Then you come up through, the Civil War area of the 1800s, the late 1800s, and through like the 1900s, when the turn of the century back then, and you start to get into electricity, and then even then, people still, spent time together. And I think that from what you were saying, Warrior, people spent time together through those blockbuster days of video and TV and things like that. And I think this is the first time that we're dealing with and tackling something that's brand new with social media and smartphones. It's not just social media, it's that your phone, everything is on your phone, so you don't have to look up to speak to anybody else. You can just speak to everybody through social media. You can FaceTime people and things like that. So now you don't even have to look up to have a real conversation with a real human being anymore. And
But
so
then
now we're dealing with, go
nobody
ahead.
leaves their homes, and everybody's just comfortable, and they don't even like hardly barbecue or spend time with each other no more. Because because I put on Facebook like we need to make a barbecue and everybody spend time and get out, because I'm a homebody and I like to stay home a lot. But then I get bored and sometimes I want to interact, but I don't know who to interact with because everybody just keeps to themselves, and you see them all day and all night on their phone till 5 in the morning, and they put like that they want to do the barbecue, but they just don't want to interact.
Yeah. And that's so true, man. Because even when you go these days, you go to a barbecue or you go to a family cookout or a friend's cookout or something like that. And Donjay said, Joseph said yes with what's that, like 5 or 6 exclamation points. He, like, Joseph agrees. We appreciate that. And Donjay says they prefer during the middle age. I see that the middle age, my brother. So the thing about it is with family, I see Jenny says me, and I see that also with family barbecues and friend barbecues and things like that. Even when you go to those things, those events, everybody's on their phone. Some people will be talking, which is good, but there'll be people just sitting down and they'll be on their phone. And even the people that are talking, they'll get into like these conversations that, you know, they're good conversations and stuff, but the moment they step away from that conversation, boy, the moment they are checking that phone,
They're
and
addicted.
it's not like they heard anything. They didn't hear like a bling or a chime or anything like that. So they didn't hear that they got anything new, any new email or any new message or anything like that. But they check it anyway just to see what's going on. Just to see
The
what
rule
they
has to
missed.
be put all the phones in a box and interact. Everybody's phone.
I know, but you know what's so funny? I think that if that were to happen, if you were to say, well, when you come to this party, put all the phones in the box and we're gonna just interact with each other, I think that I really think, I'm not sure, this is just a guess, but I think that people would be kind of like antsy. I don't even think people would be comfortable in that barbecue. I think they'd be sitting there, they'd be half listening, but in the back of their mind, on the other side of their mind, they'll be like, man, look at the phone, man, what's going on, what's going on? And I guarantee sooner or later, you would have somebody be like, oh, you know what, guys, like, I you know, I really have to check on something. Like I was waiting for my boss to call me, or you know, there's an email I'm expecting from work that's really important that I have to check.
Yeah.
Somebody would say something like that or make up something like that. I have to call home and check on my kids. Somebody would say something like that as an excuse to go back to that box and pull that phone out. I guarantee it. It's all good, man.
I'll
And
say I'll
Dante.
check it for you. I'll check it for
You're
you.
like, there's nothing there, so you're
So
okay.
we learn to disconnect, because we always are my phone, my phone, my phone. It's addictive. It's like a drug. You gotta have it. You always gotta be looking. You can't be without it.
It definitely is a drug, and it's definitely addictive. And I was going to get into that, and Donjay says somewhere in the world there's people that are disconnected from the technology world, and that's true, because if you think about it like this, the world will still go on, because before smartphones and before the internet, the world went on. The world happened. Like, people lived, people were born, people died, you know what I'm saying? So the world went on before that. So it's kind of like, how did they do it, right? And so we're not saying that you shouldn't have your phone ever, but if people survived for centuries, for hundreds and thousands of years without that, and they survived, and then society flourished and things like that, well, then people can survive for 5 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours without their phone, right? You would think that should be pretty possible. And I see you, Jenny. Jenny's like, my phone has everything I need. I seriously need my phone. Jenny, we would still ask you to put it in that box when you come to the barbecue, sister.
Right. At least once a week for like a couple of hours, and just learn to disconnect. If not, then we'll find all the cell phone towers and break them all. No.
There you go. And Jenny gave a shout out to Tesla 100. Yeah, Tesla, man, with that electricity and everything Tesla was doing. Tesla's a very cool individual. And Donjay says, and that's my plan for the future, When I'll be 20 years old, I'll quit the technology world for a good while. I love tourism and studying nature. Nature is my number one thing, Don J. So I'm with you on that. Nature is my number one thing, man. When I'm in nature, I don't know if that's my Native American blood. You guys know my dad was African American, my mom's Native American. So I don't know if that's my Native American blood inside of me, that Blackfoot Sioux blood. Shout out to all the Sioux Nation, you know what I'm saying, Lakota. But I don't know if that's what that is in me, but I love nature, man. I love nature so much. Jenny says, okay, geez. She says, okay, she'll put the phone in the box when she comes to the barbecue. We appreciate it, Jenny. Man, so, you know, like I said before, man, I'm not going to keep you guys for any longer. This is just volume 1 of talking about social media, man. We spoke about social media, but we also spoke about things dealing with life, and we appreciate that. With, you know, abuse came up also, and, you know, drugs came up also, which drugs is going to be what we're talking about on Sunday, Jenny, so I'm going to reach out to you about that. Also, on top of that, dealing with the abuse and the drugs and things like that, that kind of goes back. I see you. What's going on, Michelle? I see you, sister. That kind of goes back with the positive of social media, just having that connection of people that have like situations that happen in their life. And this is a good example of yourself, Warrior, and Janny, because you guys both were dealt with a lot of things, especially Warrior. I know your story when it comes to like your father. And today we learned that Janny had to deal with a lot with her father also. So social media does bring people together that have gone through like situations, you know, because now you have a new friend in Janny that you never knew before tonight, you know what I mean? So this all connects us all, and that's a good thing. And there's a lot more positives, but there's a lot more negatives about social media also. And like I said, this is just volume 1, and we'll get into the rest of everything dealing with social media another time. I never want to keep you guys too long. I know that also Warrior, who I love to death, you know, she has 2 young children, and Jenny says you're her new friend's sister. There you go. So the positives of social media have been shown tonight, also, with connecting individuals that are great individuals, and you and Jenny are both great people. So I appreciate both of you guys. I appreciate everybody who was here tonight, man. And like I said, you know, always reach out. Warrior of Love and Light 1, and you guys can go, and if you look at, you know, you can look at my social media, and you'll see that I have her social media handled there, and things like that, man. Like I said, you know, Let There Be Light is still out. You know, I definitely want to promote that, and that's all about, you know, the spirituality and things like that. Blue Eyes, I see you behind Blue Eyes. And things like that. And, you know, everything's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, Deezer, Tidal, iTunes, SoundCloud, on all streaming platforms. And the new single, That's Much More Sexual, Place Better Yet Put, just came out. And that video will be out. The video for that will be out next week. So it's all good, man. And I'm Old Dog Anti-Imperial to Chill. That's my artist name, Old Dog Anti-Imperial to Chill. Old Dog, he's much more crazy, right? He's about sexuality, he's a thug and things like that. Anti-Imperial is all about spirituality and social issues and culture and racism and equality and political issues and history and things like that. And the Chill is all about romance and family and falling in love and things like that. So those are the 3 elements who make me who I am. So when you guys see that Old Dog Anti-Imperial to Chill, those 3 names, you'll know kind of like what they mean, man. And this was very good, and I appreciate everybody sharing their stories today, man. Warrior, just so you know, I love you to death. You know, most and for all, most and above all, I respect you more than anything. It's all good though, man. Fired up and inspired. I see you, sister. We're about to end it. We came on at 8, fired up and inspired. We appreciate you joining in. We're about to end this, sister. It's all good. And Michelle said, Warrior, you're so pretty. I see you saw that. It's all good. Michelle is a wonderful individual. Warrior, you are a dream, sister. I love you to death. Janny, fired up. Michelle, everybody who came on, Donja, everybody who was on tonight, man. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate it, man, and it's all good, and I love everybody, and you guys take care, man. You guys have a great rest of the week. This is, for many of us, Wednesday. For those of you guys overseas, all my people in China, in the Middle East, and Asia. I know for you guys it's Thursday already, so peace to you guys also. But take care, you guys, man, and I love you to death. Warriors, or anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, just everybody have a blessed and good night.
Take care, everybody. We appreciate it. Peace. Bye-bye. Hold on. Anti-Imperial to chill. At anti_imperial on Instagram. On YouTube is Anti-Imperial. Subscribe to that YouTube. Anti-Imperial with a space in between. If you guys want to see this video, I'm going to be posting it on YouTube later tonight. So if you subscribe, you guys, you'll always get everything I put out first. This will be posted on YouTube also. Okay? So there you go. Anti-Imperial at anti_imperial on Instagram, YouTube, anti-space imperial, warrior of love and light with the number 1. All right. And you guys take care, warrior. I love you to death, sister. All right.
You too. Bye bye.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night. Peace, everybody. Bye. Peace.